and James. He was speaking to 3 other people, and I walked up to him, and he said, yes, and let me tell you about Priya and her son and Diversity Soul Kitchen. They got Christmas gifts for the kids, and they taught them how to sew, and they taught them how to wash clothes, and this, that, and that, and that. And I said, okay, when do we have our ribbon cutting ceremony? We need a spot, we need a place. He said, I got the perfect place for you. I said, okay, I got an idea, let's see if our ideas match. And that's when he said, behind Mercer Street, there's a plot that they've already cleaned out area, and I was like, that would be fantastic. So then there's another gentleman that was there, I'm sorry, I apologize, I don't know his name. But he said, well, I thought that would be something for the veterans also. I said, well, I'm totally on board with that. However, going back and behind there, I doubt veterans are really going to want to have to climb and do stuff, and that might be a little cumbersome. What if we try to think of something that can be done where Chappelle Park area is, being that we have a lot of our memorial stands there? So that's when Mayor Ellis said to me, you know what, that's a great idea. We'll work on that part as far as the veterans are concerned, but the plot area that I guess was belonging to Norfolk Southern, he said, Priya, that belongs to you, and you can have that for Diversity Soul Kitchen. And that was on January 24th. So I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. So then on the 26th, he and I spoke again in January, and I said, when can we have our ribbon cutting ceremony? And he said, that would be soon. We will talk about that. And so that's why I'm here, because we don't know when we're supposed to be having this and presenting this to our community here.
So this is... First of all, thank you for everything that you do.
You're welcome. I do it on absolutely no budget whatsoever. And I'm literally, I never knew Phillipsburg existed. Just a little background on me. Okay, really quick. I kind of got here through the program that no one thinks exists, but it does. So I was kind of incognito for like a year and a half where no one knew what I was. In any case, yes.
You just bought a shirt.
I'm perfect. So yes, the Witness Protection Program does exist, and that is how I got it, okay, through that and a domestic violence program. Since then, 7 years now, I am pretty active the past 3-4 years in my community. Love's Linkets for Dolls and Trinkets is how I started my item, because we were noticing that people were throwing away dolls and toys and all these things that could be done and reused. And my son was going to St. Philip and James because I put him there, and so he had this project he had to do, and it was for science, and it was how plastics do not decompose in our landfills. And he needed a prop, so he wrote this whole item up, and I said, I got an idea for you. And I found this doll, and the doll was held together on its neck with duct tape. And the face and hair and everything, you couldn't even recognize it. And after about an hour and a half, with no skill, no background, no nothing, just looking at it and being creative, I redid the doll with clothing, and her name is Nia, which means purpose. And I gave her an African headdress and everything, and he used that for his project. And then she was actually donated to a little girl from Ghana who was here for a foster adopt exchange. So that's how that came, and then we volunteered at the Monroe Cafe for almost 2 years, where he was named Junior Youth Ambassador, and I am the volunteer neighborhood coordinators. Everyone comes to me with questions. And then from there, that's how Diversity Soul Kitchen was born, because I cooked and baked and did everything to get my son to the Orange Bowl this past year. So that's how we finance our goodies for our community.
Well, congratulations on your son going to the Orange Bowl. So your question is whether or not we can provide you with the Norfolk Southern plot of land, correct?
I guess after all that, I'm sorry, I was long-winded. Yes, so my question is, when, how, and how does the whole thing happened after Mayor Ellis told me that that plot of land will belong to myself, Diversity Soul Kitchen, and it's a done deal.
Ma'am, are you a violent woman? Excellent. I can answer that question for you. The mayor doesn't have the capability to provide you with land that we don't own. However,
oh, he told me he did. He said it's already been signed off and it's done, and he said that that plot of land goes, we have plenty of topsoil to turn it over for you, because, you know, it did have some train and stuff like that. So he said we can do it.
I don't know, I can't remember the parameters of the lease that we signed versus where this plot is, so I can't speak to whether we have control over this particular lot.
Is it possible this could be the, didn't the police clean up a lot?
I tell you what I would like to do.
Maybe it's that one?
We have a very encompassing work session coming up. If it's okay with you, I would like to take us to the work session. Councilman Davis, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind researching that lease agreement for me?
Yeah, I'll go through my records to see what I can find in terms of the lease that was signed with the railroad.
And we will do everything within our power to help you. I can't make promises that I can't keep, though.
Okay. Sounds good. You look like, no one told me this.
No, not at all.
No,
So it is the first we're hearing of it, but,
Okay.
you know.
Well, one of the reasons
Okay,
why
well,
this was important to me, like I said, we do a lot of work with the children in the community just on our own. Another thing that I brought up to him was that there's no one bilingual in the office where he works at. The other day, my neighbor down the block, her English is very limited, and she thought she smelled something burning. I just happened to be home, and the police department and the fire department told me they were very grateful because I sat there and I translated the whole entire thing. Spanish is my second language, not my first. So I find it very important to be able to speak more than one language. As well as another point that I brought up to Mayor Ellis is that when we volunteer to get certain supplies at different farms here, sometimes for whatever work that I'll do with them or my son or a couple other kids, they may give us every other bushel of tomatoes or apples or whatever, and that's how we turn it around, make things, and then we're able to finance the things we do for the seniors in our community or anyone in our community. We recently picked up 47 cases of Ensure that no one picked up in the transit, and it would have been destroyed. And my son and I took it to every senior community here in town and to different homes that we knew that had older people there. We want to be able to take the kids in our community on field trips to science STEM items, to plays, shows. Some of the farms, the people that we've gone to and they've let us volunteer there, have open arms for us to bring the kids there. We don't have any way to do it. I mean, if we could present something, and also he was interested in seeing my proposal again for the Camp Epicurious, which is the food program that I want to bridge the gap between the kids when they get out of school and before they get home.
Would you be willing to come back to present us with that presentation at our second meeting?
Absolutely.
Excellent, I would appreciate that. I do have your number, right? Excellent, okay, I will be in touch.
Okay.
Mr. Cooper, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you very much. And you can see a lot of the work that we've done on the Facebook group Diversity is spelled D-Y.
I think you've made a lot of us up here feel lazy this evening, so
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Very well. Mr. Timmon, that's going to be a tough one to follow up. State your name and address for the record, please.
Bill Timmon, 230 South Main Street. First question is, I don't know if anybody else has noticed it, but I've had a few people come to me as being kind of the spokesman for downtown. Why is the water brownish and tastes funny lately? All around town, not just downtown.
I can't attest to the taste, but I did have a resident reach out to me. I in turn had spoken with Clerk Kleiner, and she had checked the latest test, and it had come out, it came out with no issue.
I know my house is clear, but a few other people that have come to me and asked me, you know, you fill a glass, hold it up, or it's
Right,
brownish.
same here. The resident who had The question was, lived on Irwood Street. She was in that section of homes that we were discussing earlier. But I can tell you that I did reach out to Clerk Kleiner immediately, and she did verify that the last water test, what would you say, grade A? Is that what it was, Vicki?
Yes.
Yes.
You just thought, you know, just ask.
I can certainly
People
write a
are-
letter to the
are
company.
asking.
Sure. I can certainly write a letter to the water company and ask them to see if there's further testing they can do. I certainly don't want Phillipsburg to be the next Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
So,
Second question, if I understand correctly, the vote you took to basically excuse the two properties that are to be liened, or were asked to be liened, will the other 3 or 4 be reimbursed for what they've already paid in? Since that was one of the issues this evening.
are you attempting to get Ms. Calorie to kill me before you?
No, I'm just saying, if you're gonna excuse it for
That is
two-
correct. The intent is to reimburse them, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comment? Yes, ma'am. State your name and address for the record.
My name's Tammy Burns McPherson. I live at 136 Chambers Street. My most recent thing is the concern of safety for the drivers and students when school gets let out. I recently posted a video on what's going on in Phillipsburg about a confrontation and problem I had with kids walking down the middle of the street. Recently, I have noticed there's been an increase in police patrolling, which I really want to say thank you to the officers and everything for that, because the post itself had been shared over 50-something times. There was over 300 comments, and multiple people asked me to step forward to share the concern of the community, because the kids can get hit. They're attacking the cars. They're being very disruptive, I guess you could say. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I've never done this before.
It's okay.
But in the video, even I said, you know, I've got all your faces. That was more or less my way of saying, hey parents, look at your kids and look at what they're doing. I've received hate mail for it. I've been threatened by the children of the videos. My concern is in the video, there's a lot of people that have the same concerns as me. There's a couple people that stated things of violence towards the children. Again, they are children. I didn't know if there's any way of keeping that on patrol for the police to keep the safety of the kids, because it is a major route along Summit to many houses, and it seems to be when the police aren't around, they are right back into well, one of the comments was, the kid literally stood in front of the car going, hit me, I dare you. So I didn't know even if there could be a corroboration between the town council and the school board to address the issues to the children, have possibly the police go in and talk and explain that what the laws are, and that they don't just get to walk down the middle of the street.
Mr. McPherson, a couple of things I want to ask first before I answer.
Okay.
The block, your house number on Chamber, the block we're talking about.
This reaches,
Is the 100?
yes, it's 100.
Okay. I grew up on 147 and 152, so I'm very familiar with it. So I work in a very indifferent schedule. I would love to come down here myself to set eyes on that. That's my promise to you. Are we talking about prior to school, after school, before school, after being going to school?
The major issue I've experienced is after school, when it gets let out. It seems like the kids come in a wave. And there's 2 crossing guards right there at the Morris Street turnaround, which is, I think, a great thing. The thing is when it passes over also from Morris Street and Summit going on to 22, the kids don't even look. In all honesty, I almost feel like there should be another crossing guard there, because I've also witnessed almost a kid getting hit because they looked like they were walking around the corner and just ran across. Like, and it's a high traffic area. I mean, I drive my kids because my daughter told me that one time one kid almost knocked her into the street because there's such a large amount of kids. And there's a lot of good kids, don't get me wrong. Ones that stay on the sidewalk, ones that keep their head down and don't want to be part of it. But the few that are not following, you know, safety are the ones that I would hate to see something happen. I mean, there's so many things that could happen with pedestrians and drivers. But like, I'm sorry to get off the topic, but yes, it seems like the school lets out around 3 o'clock. Usually when I get my daughter, it's around 3:15, 3:30 when I'm driving through that this happens.
Okay, I see in the back of the room we have Lieutenant Vine here, who is more than capable of subject matter expertise in traffic. I'll have discussion with you as well. We'll go back, I'll talk to Chief Stegner, which I do a brief after these town council meetings. In addition, I will give you my information, because my promise to you is I want to set eyes on it. So as the police department takes it in one direction, they oversee the school crossing guard program. They can take that, run it in that direction. I can get back to our council, and we can have discussions. So as responsible citizens, as your elected officials, that you have peace of mind that you have it working both ways to see what you do about your issue.
I highly appreciate it, thank you.
No, that's our job. Thank you.
State your name and address for the record.
Dan Boyce, 244 Irwin. I'm up here tonight because I've been up here before about other situations. Tonight I understand a child was hit by a car on Mercer Street. A lot of us have complained about the speed, even about traffic all across town. And of course, my very first comment is cameras. Why aren't we having cameras put up? I'm bothered because a lot of time and energy seems to be put out on a lot of propaganda going across here. I see that WFMZ posts something that was completely false. I read a post that was completely false. I saw a video that I put Stephen King to shame. Nothing is being done truthfully, and it's only being done to rile up the residents of town. I'm surprised that you don't see them out front with pitchforks and torches ready to burn this place down. Really, and it's sad. It's very sad. It's deliberate. You can tell it's deliberate. It's pathetic, is what it is. There's a time and a place for everything. This is not the science fiction network, and none of it is true. Anybody that's been here knows that the whole thing about the parking was done to rile up the residents. The whole thing about the Ingersoll-Rand deal was done to rile up the residents. Let's just start being honest with things, okay? I don't need to mention names. I'm really upset. But everybody here, and a lot of you here know, I wish the mayor was here to hear me now, because he has to attest when I stick up for him a lot of times when nobody else does. This is a time I can't. And here we have a child that was hit because important issues aren't addressed. And this childish foolishness just to make people look bad is being done. And it's pathetic. It's a crying shame. Now the town is going to face a lawsuit. Why? Because why? Who are we impressing? Who? I wish somebody would address this. It's really, I mean, I don't know what you have to do. Put a speed bump every 10 feet in these roads. You go through Newark, you go through the hood, I mean, they've got them, why can't we have them?
I can tell you, Mr. Boyce, that I have been working with Stan Schreck, who's our town engineer, on the implementation of traffic calming procedures. His report is just about complete. As a matter of fact, we chose to start with the Lewis Street area, which, as you know, is in the vicinity of Chambers Street. But we're not going to stop there, and I would, without speaking for Mr. Schreck, I'd encourage him to come to the meeting when that report is complete and provide it to the residents, because it is extremely important that we curb the speeding. I wish we could have put the stop signs there. I was in favor of it. Unfortunately, they didn't meet the criteria, so we had to go another route. But I do concur, and I can tell you that you won't see that from anyone here at this table, both Republican or Democrat. You won't see that.
Unfortunately, a lot of people want to put the blame on the police, and I'm sure, is it lieutenant now? Okay. Congratulations. can tell you how taxed the police force is to begin with. They don't have the time to be patrolling stupidity. I step out in front of cars all the time on Irwin Street. I'm going to tell you right now, if I get hit, I'm going to milk it. Trust me. I got multiple personalities. This is what it takes for this to be addressed. I don't know how, does anybody know how the child was that was hit today?
I do know it was a hit and run. They did get the driver down on Broad Street today. I haven't heard anything more about how the child is.
You see, with cameras, this could be prevented. I found out that we have, what, 5,400 taxable units in town? As a taxpayer, if you would increase my taxes $100 a year, that's going to give you over $500,000. I think that can buy some cameras.
Whoa. Oh, my tax going up.
I don't know too many people that will agree with you. I think the majority will agree with me.
Let's try and maintain order and give Mr. Boyce his time to speak.
For that $500,000, I think you can put cameras in and hire a full-time dispatcher in town, which is going to help a lot too. You call now for an emergency, you got to call all the way to Washington for them to call all the way here. How long is that? A lot of time. I don't know what the time differential is, but it would be a lot quicker if you call in somebody on Corliss or at the Armory, wherever it's going to be, and let them dispatch right from there. All they have to do is go in the other room or wherever. It seems to be a no-brainer. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sitting up there, so I don't know.
I certainly do appreciate your comment, and I can tell you that I do believe the mayor does watch these videos, so he may be in touch with you as soon as he sees your
That'll be
comment.
the first time.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Mr. Minor, say your name and address.
394 South Main Street in Phillipsburg, I'm Joseph Minor. And thanks, Dan. One of the things that might come up in these meetings I'm about to talk about is a suggestion during brainstorming that he made about those cameras.
Mr. Minor,
Yes.
just keep in mind that the meetings that we were speaking about earlier was not part of the landlord-tenant task force, so just don't refer to it there, okay?
Okay,
Thank
I've
you.
changed the name. I've called it the present committee.
Excellent, thank you.
The present committee tenure ends when we present a plan to the town council work session. Conceding to the Sunshine Law, the members of the committee are Diane Boyce, Bill Timmon, Joseph Minor, Mayor Ellis, and 2 spaces for town council members. The spaces are presently occupied by Bobby Fulmer and Danielle DiGeronimo, who can trade them back and forth with other council members as they see fit. At the first meeting, we brainstormed. We are attempting to impact 2 conditions. We have many residential vacancies, including 325 mortgaged, deserted, uninhabitable, primarily residential properties. That's the first problem. We have ugly, deserted first-floor storefronts on South Main, the second problem. The first condition, the 325 properties are being successfully impacted by the new finding resolution. What remains is to entice people to buy and live in Phillipsburg. At the next meeting, the members are invited to bring written proposals, something between an outline and a complete plan, such as we need cameras, to entice people to buy and live in Phillipsburg. That's the first condition. The purpose of the meeting is to alter the proposals to unanimously satisfy the membership. Attendance is open to the public. Meetings will be announced at council business meetings, such as this one. And here's the announcement. The next meeting will be at 394 South Main Street from 1:45 to 3 p.m. on Sunday, February 11th. The second condition will be dealt with at a later meeting. Once again, that next meeting, which will deal with just the vacant properties in town and getting people to buy them, meetings will be announced. The next meeting will be held at 394 South Main Street 394 South Main Street, from 1:45 to 3 p.m. 1:45 to 3 p.m. on this, I think it's this coming Sunday, February 11th.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Is there anyone else? Approach podium, state name and address for the record.
John Duffmiller, 132 Chambers Street. To touch on Ms. McPherson's problem on Sutton Street, if you confront these kids, you get better language from the hilltop or the snack bar. They'll talk worse to you than any man or any drunk in either one of the bars. They tell you right where to go, and it's not nice. Second, the mayor had posted last year on how wonderful Summer Street was repaved after they dug it up. What happened to the last block between Lewis and Chambers?
I don't know that answer, sir. I apologize, but I don't read the mayor's Facebook.
The other thing is about the parking lot at the boat launch ramp. Nobody had any idea of charging for that parking lot until 2 years ago when the youth organizations collected money. When the youth organizations collected money to help fund these kids to play sports in this town, which we need, somebody got the bright idea of, wow, they made a lot of money. Now we want to charge everybody and chase everybody out. We want to chase businesses out. We're telling people that businesses are paying, charging customers to park their cars there at night, which isn't true. I mean, I think we should just let the kids collect the money.
You can't anymore. You can't do it anymore.
No.
Nope.
I believe there was a state statute that prevents us from...
I just found it odd that once they did it, now the town wants to make money off of it.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, that was the mayor's idea to have the kids collect it in the lots. I was there. We were all brought in. It was a volunteer basis, and the money was split out and given to the people that worked it. So that actually was the mayor's idea. For what it's worth, that was.
And the last thing is, as soon as you come over to Freebridge, you see Teddy's Breakfast Special on a banner. All the towns surrounding us banned it. Did away with signs like that. I mean, we complained for years about a building that got hit by a car, now we got a tacky sign.
I believe the mayor stated not too long ago that he'd be working on some type of signage policy or ordinance, something to do with the in the historical areas. That would be one of those areas. So I do believe he'll address that concern.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anyone else? Okay. There being no further public petitions, we can move forward to council open time. Councilman Lutz.
I just have two things. I think we should, since it's a new council, we should tell Sandstreck that we'd like to have him here once a month, once a meeting.
Stan, I'm sorry.
Do you know already?
I do. I have worked it out with Stan. Stan will be here once per month to give us his report. He couldn't be here this evening because he's away on business.
Okay. I'd just like to say it's Women's Health Month, so wear red, the color's red, and support the women with heart problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Lutz. Council Vice President DeGirelli.
Oh, one more thing. One more thing, please. Rich was supposed to be here tonight, but he had a fire. There's a check here for the Phillipsburg Fire Department for $1,200 for me. For the money that I raised driving the trolley over the Polish Express.
Councilman, that is admirable. You definitely are a man of your word. Council Vice President DeGirelli.
I open an envelope here. We have an announcement from the Reliance Hose Company number 1, Saturday, April 7th, 2018. They will be holding the 48th Old Timers at Fire Central. Doors will open at 4 p.m., dinner will be served at 6. It's $15 a person, so please come out and support our volunteers. You can contact Ted Veg Jr., and he has his telephone number. If anybody would like this, we will have it available. Also, I have an announcement from the police department. This was provided, I believe, at the UEZ meeting that I attended. We had our appointments. We're going to cover those, right? So UEZ handed this out. So everybody's aware there's a 4-week interactive course being provided for an overview of police work and to help community members learn more about the role in law enforcement in the community and the challenges. The classes are beginning the week of February 21st, and they will be offered 4 consecutive Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Pilgrim Presbyterian Church. So we have flyers up front if anyone is interested in more details on that program. It's called the Citizen Police Academy, and there's more in the back. So they are for the public, if anyone is interested. And last, I will be contacting the mayor, the school district, and several other organizations locally in regards to implementing a new program in town called Not in Our Town. It is a program to stop hate together in the town. It's to work together for a safe, inclusive community. This is what it is. It's a national program. So with permission, this is an active program where they talk about change happening when everyone works together. And they tell us to think big and don't be afraid to start small. So the suggestions are to have the public official support, which got mine. So I will be reaching out to everyone regarding that. Faith groups, law enforcement, local business owners, immigrant organizations, the media, women's groups, campus student groups, crime victim advocates, ethnic and cultural groups, associations, and the school community. So with everyone's permission, I will be reaching out appropriately to those parties and ask for the support, participation, and to draft a resolution regarding implementing it locally. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Davis?
I don't have anything for tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman McVeigh?
A few things on the decision. I just want to wish the Scarborough family well moving forward with their decision. Secondly, I want to wish my daughter Tatum, who's in attendance today, a happy 16th birthday. I'm not sure why. I also want to wish my vice president on Thursday a happy birthday as well. Just focusing on, because I am focused on the whole parking situation. Again, looking very forward to our work session. It must, I will reiterate, include business owners. It must include any fishing organization. It must include our DPW representative, which I would prefer a supervisor, because when there's inclement weather, DPW folks have to be involved as far as traversing with their snow removal equipment and how that affects parking. That all